Well, there's different types of productions. There's high budget, low budget, no budget, and then there's us. Oh, I got this. You ready? We're gonna have to kick it old school.
Tegan!
That's my baby too.
Vampires. You see them in the movies. You see them played on TV.
Man, fuck that bitch! Onward!
Personally, I prefer Ray LaCola.
You son of a bitch!
Oh, ah!
Put so far up your ass!
All we need is each other. It's you and me, baby. At the end of the day, that's all we got. And you and me, well, we're going straight to the top, baby. Let me tell you. Together we can do anything. It's you and me forever and always, baby. Forever and always we can do this.
NSFE presents The Roast of Tegan Flanders, also starring Ben Milot, Richie Oliver, Rhodes Pierre, Stephen Norton, Nicholas Anderson.
All right, welcome everyone to the roast of Tegan Flanders. Tegan Flanders has lived a life. For those at home, shout out some of the things you know about his accomplishments. Share it with someone next to you. Feel free to put some of those in the comments below. Yeah, we didn't have anything either. Yeah. Tegan Flanders, a.k.a. T, a.k.a. Flan Man, a.k.a. the broke Jew. No matter how you know him, you know he hit on your girlfriend. Tegan is many things to many people. He's a stand-up comedian. He's an actor. He's worked on Wall Street. He even once referred to himself as Big Swingin' Wampum Dick. It wasn't racist, though. He was in a whitewashed production of Last of the Mohegans. I think what most of us here on screen know from him, he has brought together local comedians for a comedy group. 4 or 5 years ago, Tegan began an improv sketch comedy group called Funny Please. Everyone on this dais and a few people watching tonight, we owe so much to you for giving us the opportunity and privilege to be a part of your vision. Granted, most of us on this dais, we were already born with enough privilege. Sorry, Rhodes. Our roasters, a group of people with the combined talent and sex appeal of Gilbert Godfrey. We have some of the best people possible that we could get to agree to work for free and that he hasn't slept with. Ben Milot. I apologize, Ben. How do you say your last name again?
It's Milot.
Yes, right. That sounds French for I've given up on life. Ben is a member of a comedy group called Funny Please. He's an actor, a comedian, a podcaster, a dog lover, and a Twinkie enthusiast. Richie Oliver, also a member of Funny Please. He's down there in the bottom corner.
Hi.
He is an avid Star Wars Lego collector. Richie practices the ancient martial art of Napoleon Kwando. Roughly translated, that means short, fat bitch. Richie and Ben have a podcast called Records and Reels because everyone really gives a shit what dudes in their 20s think about. Rhodes Pierre, or as I always like to call him, Rhodey. A man so well versed in sleeping anywhere that it's like he's making up for 400 years of manual labor.
Jesus.
Stephen Norman, former member of Funny Please, and currently the special needs member of NSFE.
Jeez.
And I'm Doc Giggles, a.k.a. Nicholas Anderson, a.k.a. Asshole you everyone loves. And I'm going to be your host for the long-anticipated assassination of a character whose soul died a long time ago. So for our first roaster, I would be remiss if I did not tell an obvious joke right now. Ben is so fat that when he was in his mother's womb, he ate his twin brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello to any sad fool watching. Hello to my fellow roasters. Howdly doodly to our Mr. Flanders. Thank you for having me on here. Clearly it's a special occasion because Tegan went all out and looking like Rob Zombie, sad that he ran out of mescaline. If you don't know Tegan, he's a comedian. He's a comedian, but he's also known for his leadership. You know, he's such a good leader that two people in this very chat room decided to quit out of his group and start their own. That's how good his leadership is. But they decided to steal Tegan's idea of naming their troop the first thing that could come to their head. So good job, guys, I guess. Good job following that leadership. Some might say that might reflect poorly on Tegan, but as Tegan once said to me in a very non-sober fashion, any mirror I'm in can only reflect gold, which I have no idea what the fuck that means. And Tegan might not remember he said that. He might fight me that he said that because he'll say it's a lie because on multiple occasions he's dubbed himself Flanderos, and he's called himself the ex-Wall Street vampire with attitude. And actually, he's trademarked that. Of course he has. But if I've told him once, I've told him a million times that diving through Robert Pattinson's trash for used makeup sponges doesn't make you a vampire. You gotta learn this lesson, Tegan. You know, thank you. 27 out of who knows. Some of you might be thinking, I know that guy, but not as a comedian. That's because you might recognize Tegan from a little bit of his nose modeling. See, this man has a monster schnoz, and they say, thank you. Can I get a profile, Tegan? Perfect, thank you. You know, sometimes you just got to put your schnoz to work for you. And it was out of season for his regular job as a sundial, so he had to do a little bit of Halloween costume modeling. So maybe you've seen a couple of these Halloween costumes that his nose has appeared on the front cover of. A Great Pyramid of Giza, the Adidas logo, a single Dorito, just the top part, a Wi-Fi connection bar, Mount St. Helen, watch out when it blows, a slice of watermelon, a sail, the rest of him is the boat, a camping tent, and of course, for the holiday season, a Christmas tree. Some people might say, that man is dressed as a Christmas tree? I don't think that's kosher, but it is. Some of you might be familiar with a little poem that is actually written about our friend Tegan. It's called In Flanders Fields. Some people believe that John McCrae wrote this about World War I after he saw his friend's funeral. But if you read between the lines on this poem, you'll see a vast empire rise and crumble before your eyes. Here, I'll read it for you real quick, and then I'll break it down line by line. So, in Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row. That mark our place, and in the sky the lark still bravely singing flies, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago we lived, fell down, saw sunset glow, lived and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch we use to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep through though poppies grow in Flanders Field. Now, when you have a high concept joke like this, you need this setup. So don't log off yet. So let me break this down line by line. Okay, so in Flanders Fields, the poppies blow. Some of you might not know, but Tegan built his vast comedy empire on his opium tradesmanship. He is addicted to the stuff, and you know what? He might just start his own little cult addicted to this stuff. So the next line is between the crosses, row on row. Tegan is very anti-Christian, and he thinks people on crosses look hilarious. But, you know, he's not biased. He's staunchly anti-Semitic as well, you know. Some might say it's a conflict of interest with the nose, but, you know, we get by. We get by. That marked our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Now, this is actually a direct quote from when Tegan was on opium. No one has been able to decipher what the fuck it means. And anytime anyone asks Tegan about it, he says, "That's the way it is, man." So that one's always going to be a mystery. Scarce heard amid the guns below. Of course, there's gang violence amongst his opium trading procedures, as is going to happen. Next line, we are the dead short days ago. This is a direct quote from some of the people that worked with Tegan in this opium dealership. It's like a car dealership, but with opium. He's very high pressure. And if it's anything like working with him for Funny Please, I would also say we are the dead short days ago. It rings true for me and probably anyone who's worked with him. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Obviously, these are the effects of opium taking on his patients, and loved, and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. This is discussing the lethargy that everyone gets from opium. Here you might start to notice that Flanders Fields is actually a metaphor for an opium den. It's very subtle, but once you start looking in between the lines, you really see it. And this brings us to our last stanza. So, take up our quarrel with the foe. Tegan is an instigator of violence. But what he didn't account for is that all of his opium-ridden followers ain't doing much. They're not going to fight anyone. They can barely piss their pants. They're just they're in Flanders Field, and they're having a great time. To you from failing hands we throw. Failing, obviously that's self-explanatory. Let's move on. The torch be yours to hold it high. This is, of course, the long-ass opium pipe that Tegan shares with his followers. If you break faith with us who die, this is Tegan getting desperate. He's starting to thinly veil threats. He has such threats as, no more opium, and who are you? And of course, we finish out with, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Some people might be wondering, how did I find out all this information? How did I start to unravel this little opium secret of Tegan's? Well, one night he turns to me in the bar, he looks me dead in the eye and says, "Ben, that China seed is the one I need." And I can't argue with him there. That's how he feels. I can't be offended. You know, and some people might be wondering, well, how do I know this poem is about Tegan? So not only does it ramble on into incoherency, much like Tegan's tales, you know, John McCrae is actually an anagram for Tegan Flanders. So that's how I know it was written for and about Tegan Flanders. Obviously, Tegan's not the only one we have here tonight. Of course, we have Stephen Norton, actually the heir to the Norton security system. If you cut him open, he's just full of porn ads and free iPhone giveaways. That's all that's in there. He's a very competent songwriter. He shared us one of his big hits called "You've Got HIV." You know, they say write what you know, and he went for it.
Touche.
Of course, we can't forget Rhodes Pierre, Tegan's one black friend that he kept on his payroll. I'm surprised Tegan had the money this month to pay for your 2 cheeseburger premium for appearing. You're still here, so I'm glad to see it. Rhodes Pierre, very funny man, also a great salesman of insurance. By the end of this, you might hear a pitch for insurance. Even if it seems like it's all jokes, he's gonna hit you with the. But wait, there's more, like a Ron Popeil for our generation. Is that pedophile Harry Potter up there? Oh no, it's Nicholas Anderson. There he is. You know, I've read all your books. You know, Harry Pedo and the Teenage Stones, Harry Pedo in the Chamber in My Basement, Harry Pedo in the Jizzin' on Young Ass and Hands, Harry Pedo in the Goblet of NyQuil, Harry Pedo in the Order of the Handcuffs that came too late from Amazon. God damn it, I'm never going to get a chance at blowing Jeremy. And of course, there's two more. Sorry, Harry Pedo and the Half-Blood, Half-Semen. And of course, Harry Pedo and the Freshly Hollowed Out.
God damn it.
If you buy the box set, it comes with your own copy of Megan's Law, so you can play with that all you want after you read the books.
God.
Last but not least, we have my friend, Richie Rich, Bitchy Rich, Richie Bitch, Bitchy Bitch, Bitchy Rich, the Richie Bitch, any combination, he's heard them all. You know, Richie, I gotta say, you look really good after coming back from Ellen's carpet munching boot camp. You look like you're a little bit more toned. I know you got a little bit of special treatment because you told them you were Rosie O'Donnell's stepson. And you know what? You do what you can.
Jesus.
If you no crying for Jesus, he won't save you here, sir. If you know Richie, you know he actually does a lot of impressions. That's because everyone's gotten sick of actually talking to him, so he needs some kind of thing to get them to actually discuss with him. Which is, you know, I'm being a little harsh on Richie and everyone. Richie, we got to stick together. I think we're the youngest here by about 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
When Not Safe for Earth asked us to be a part of this, you know, it seemed like a NAMBLA convention, but, you know, we pressed through. We decided it was worth it, so we're here together. We got to stick together. I got to say, I want to thank Not Safe for Earth for having us. Thank you for hosting this. I've always wanted to be on Hollywood Squares, so I feel like I'm filling this dream in this little box that I'm in. Also, you're welcome to all the folks at home that don't have to sit in a room with the six of us, because that would be fucking disgusting smelling. I don't know if you've ever smelled something like this. It's hard to describe. It's like a used douchebag that has been ejected from an elephant. I'm not going to tell you which orifice, but it's from one of them. So, Tegan, we love you, buddy. Thanks for having us, and thanks for letting us take your piss.
All right. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Man, I'm really glad you were able to take the time between putting food in your mouth to be able to tell all of that to us.
You know,
Really
I
nice.
thought I wouldn't have time to breathe in between two, but I found the time.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Our next roaster looks like Rosie O'Donnell if she was a lipstick lesbian. Now, I don't really have a joke for that, Richie. I apologize. I was looking at this on Facebook, and I just, thought you looked like Rosie O'Donnell, just prettier. Ladies and gentlemen, Richie Oliver.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nick. I don't know a lot about Nick. All I know is that he is just a perfect human being. I once saw Nick Anderson eat an entire stick of butter. Nick was once seen helping a young married couple mate, finally. I once saw him chew up food for a baby bird that he was nursing. Nick is so white.
How white is he?
Nick is so white, he roasts his own coffee beans at home. Nick also let me know a while ago that he likes to research things for fun, which is just a modest way of saying that he's the sole donator for Wikipedia. He's keeping him going all this time. So many great people on the dais. We have Rhodes. Pierre is here, the discount Obama. Rhodes always likes to share posts on Facebook with the tagline, "Educate yourself," which is actually fitting because most people educate themselves through Facebook. Rhodes, if you look at him, he's not a runner. The only time I've ever seen him run is to a computer when a minority was being oppressed. So other great people on the dais. We got Steve Norton. Steve froze his Star Wars figures growing up, which is a great analogy for how his career is doing now. Frozen. Steven is 34 and his girlfriend is 24. He is a walking statutory charge. I mean, that whole new documentary on Epstein was mainly about him. Steven has a foreign girlfriend, which, judging by this current administration, means that he is fully qualified to run this country. So we've got that. I mean, you got that going for you. My good friend Ben is here. Guys, look at Ben. Ben is one more week in quarantine away from becoming Hurley from Lost. He's almost there. Real quick. Ben's mutton chops are so big that they actually hired him for King Richard's Fair this year, which is great. I'm super excited to see you splitting logs and tossing cabers. Oh, man. Little thing about Ben. Ben had Bell's palsy last year, which made half of his face stiff, which is interesting because his acting's been stiff way before his face. So I think it was finally great to actually have that with him there. Who else we got here? I think I talked about everyone. Real quick, a little thing about James. James Sanguinetti is the poor man's Tegan Flanders. I just have to put that out there, but I just like to do that. I'd like to go to the main person of the hour right now, Mr. Flanders, my friend, my buddy, my leader. Tegan Flanders, he has the body of a smart water bottle. He's just built like a great smart water bottle. Tegan Flanders looks like if an acoustic guitar was a person. Which is great because he's really going for the Cat Stevens look right now. Tegan Flanders, oh man, he has this really funny way of going from like a Boston accent to like a stereotypical ghetto accent, like very fast, which is exactly how it'll be a year from now when searching for his prison gang. So that'll be great. He can really work all angles there in the prison. I first met Tegan when I auditioned for Funny Please. My first thought, I looked at him and I said, this man has a body somewhere. And then he invited me to a studio, and I actually noticed that the only body that he was hiding was himself from everyone around him. Tegan's studio is actually pretty cool. I mean, really the only thing I would change about it is the dumb, tall motherfucker who runs it. You know, it's just, I feel like it could really be used to its full potential if we just got that fucker out of there. Yeah, Tegan has a huge stack of dummy phones just sitting around, which is great because that's the only things that he uses apparently to communicate, which is something great there. That's really all I got. I love Tegan so much. He's always been a good friend of mine. Really love. Shout out to everyone. Thank you so much, Not Safer, for inviting me on to talk about this fucker. And thank you, Tegan, for being such a good sport. I love you, and you're such a good friend of mine.
Thank you very much, Richie. You know, I'm sorry, Richie. I guess you're probably tired of people calling you a lesbian most of your life. I mean, it's not your fault. You were born with a sensitive nature, an inability to grow any semblance of real facial hair, and those soft, gentle lips. Well, hell, if it, in the dark, I would even use your mouth as a college girl auditioning on a couch.
Jesus.
Before I introduce our next roaster, I have a very quick question for everyone. What do you call a superhero who's a narcoleptic insurance salesman? You call him Rhodes Pierre.
Jesus.
I just unmuted myself. And again, welcome to the roast, Tegan Flanders. Thank you for having me, Steven. You know, and let's just get started right now. Can you guys hear me properly? Oh, beautiful, beautiful. You know, again, as a black man, I thought my mic might have been muted again. So no, seriously, like Tegan is the hardest working man I know in show business, in real life. Like as a stockbroker, you know, as they say, he's always broke. So he epitomizes like Tegan as an actor. He epitomizes the actor's rebounder. Like he just teaches you what not to do as an actor. And in all of his jobs, like he's like a method actor. He's acting like he's working. That's the method of keeping his job. All right. And his motivation is like, his motivation for all of his job is just not to go broke. It's like he's just being real. All right, that's just Tegan. And like I love Tegan for all of his adventures. Like seriously, from the all-night benders to go down to New York and rock it. Like, okay, like I don't know how he made it back, how he's still alive. But again, the Tegan Flanders, it's the Tegan flair. Somehow or another, it happens. You know, like again, Tegan doesn't burn bridges. He's like a diplomat. When it comes to it, he just doesn't use him anymore.
What about when we move the car for you? Get somebody behind.
Oh yeah. Sorry, they need to move the car. So sorry. For the kid's birthday party, I'm trying to keep it PG. You guys. No, okay. Another thing about Tegan being a fearless leader, you know what I'm saying? Like, he has no fear. He is like liquid courage, you know what I'm saying? Just pour him out of a bottle, he's ready to go. And when it comes to Black Lives Matter, I know they matter to Tegan. All right, he do. He will stand up. He'll be ready to fight. You know, he'll be like, yeah, like he's more ready to fight for Black lives than I am sometimes. You know, I'm always sleeping. That's the problem. So, no, seriously, he's a cool dude. I enjoy him. And then, so now let's just kind of go around the room and then talk around the screen and mention some other fellas, you know what I'm saying? Like my man Nick over here, he's always wearing a bowling shirt, okay? Yes. He always wants to make sure that people know who he is. Like, I know I sell insurance, but this dude tries to sell confidence everywhere he goes. All right, so my man, okay, again, I don't know my man Ben too much, but I love him. I feel like, he's always like very chill and cool. I love the fact that he's wearing, he's not afraid to wear his true colors tonight, busting out the Hawaiian shirt. Look at that head, man. Like, you know, he, like the way he does that, he does it professionally, okay? So, see now, I'm ready to hire you just for TV, man. Yes, S. So our other gentleman right here, my main man, Steve Norton, the distinguished gentleman. Always, yeah. Like again, like he's gonna rip into people, all right. So he's just naturally mean. He's like, I'm just telling you the truth, the way I see it. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that hurt? Is that dagger in the knife hard? Was the knife not hot too? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was just telling you the truth. I love you. So, oh man. So again, there goes Tegan. Look at it in the middle of the show. Like, can't you wait, brother? You know, I'll wait. Like, did you see me? Can't you wait? Man, like everyone talks about Richie. Richie, you know what I'm saying? I love your name, brother. I love your energy. I love your smile, man. Fuck them motherfuckers. Okay, so you know what? Yeah, you cheeky, you funny, like you own. You be you, brother. All right, you do it. All right.
Stop.
Don't worry about it. They're just jealous. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, like I'm ready to party when we're ready to get this Corona thing over. I'd love to actually see all you guys live and hang out. If I wish it was actually your birthday, Tegan, so I could say happy birthday, Tegan. But you know, children are here, Tegan, so I'm gonna say fuck yeah. I love you and peace.
All right. Thank you very much, Rhodes. And just so you know, your life matters because without you, this would really be a clan meeting.
Holy fuck. God damn.
So we actually have a special video from James Sanguinetti, a member of NSFB.
Holy shit. I feel like I'm on one of those live via satellite feeds. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm very, very glad to be here. I wish I could have been part of the main dais, but, you know, I was worried, honestly. Even though everyone's remote from home on the show, I'm pretty sure there's like an 80% chance I'd catch some STD by being on the panel. So that's away from that, guys. Being here, this is awesome here for Tegan. You guys kind of look like you're the serial killer Brady Bunch with all those panels going on. I don't think I can find a creepier group of people Even if I was like at Epstein Island, I'd ask where Alice is, but I'm pretty sure I do not want to know. Anyway, thank you again. So to start, I'd like to thank our host, Nick. Let's give it up for Nick, everyone. Nick is the answer to the age-old question, what if Colonel Sanders had sex with Tiger King? Yeah, he looks like he's just just ready to run for. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. I really like to thank is Steve. Steve put this all together. He's running the technical aspects now. He's the one who put me in via satellite. He did all the videos. He's like the technical guru in our group. He's like the mastermind behind everything. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule, Steve. I know that 600-page manifesto you're working on isn't going to write itself. Yeah. When I said mastermind, I meant like not Professor X mastermind. I meant like, crazy Dr. No James Bond villain type of mastermind. We love Steve, but, let me show you a couple of things. You see what Steve looks like now. It's kind of like this, I assume. This is what he used to look like.
Yeah.
This is even before picture. Yeah, Steve. Working on manifesto. Just remember that I love you. I didn't do anything wrong. When the Kool-Aid gets passed out, just don't give me any, please. Okay. Thanks. Moving along. We are excited to have some members of Funny Please join us today. First up, we have Ben. What can I say about Ben? No. I'm really being serious. What can I say about Ben? I actually knew nothing about him. Can someone tell me anything about this guy? Anything? Kind of looks like he should be waving a Confederate flag around at a NASCAR event or then I don't know. Thanks for being on there. Then there's Richie. Richie, I know a little bit. Richie's a huge fan. He loves them for their famous live performances, their ability to cover so many like musical genres, their expertise in musical improv. Richie just sent me a text. He told me his mom's actually not watching, and yeah, I made all that shit up for him. Richie only likes them because it allows him to drop acid and be naked in public at the same time. Richie got texting earlier to put this in. And finally, the last guest from Funny Please is Rhodes. Rhodes. Give it up for Rhodes, everyone. No, I don't mean clap, guys. I mean give it up to him. Rhodes is an insurance salesman, and he only agreed to do this if we got him 10 leads for the show. He's a busy guy. I don't think he's going to stay if we don't get him 10 leads. And Steve can only take on 2 or 3 more policies. He's a 30-year-old dude, but whatever. But dude, you're my man. I should warn you though, the last time I saw a video with a black guy surrounded by 5 white guys, it did not end well. I love you. And finally, it's time for a very, 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 very special guest, Tegan. When I say special, I mean I'm supposed to be special. You're so special that they had a bus just for you. But no, Tegan, thank you for being a good sport on here. We haven't seen this much brutality since we watched the 8 o'clock news last night. So I'm glad you're being a good sport through all this. I'd also, like to congratulate personally, for landing the role of Will Ferrell's body double in Eurovision. It takes a lot of hair just to be there, as it were. But yes, congrats, Tegan.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Tegan. I actually met Tegan. We were so fast, like we didn't remember our first 3 meetings. We're like, did I meet you before? Like maybe. Yeah, who knows? Yes. So Tegan and I both like to party and stuff. But I met Tegan because I ended up working with Funny Please for almost 2 years. I was the creative director, and I brought improv to the group. And they didn't do a lot of improv. They started doing a lot of sketch comedy, but I was the teacher of improv for the group. So one of the major lessons in improv is the expression yes and. What that means is you say yes to something and then you add something more to it, and that's sort of how most improv works. And Tegan took this by heart. He loved it. But I think he only took it by heart is because later on that night after I taught him that we were out at at some club, and some guy walks up. He's like, "Yo, you guys want weed?" And Tegan's like, "Yes, and he's like, oh, "Okay, cocaine?" He's like, "Yes, and." It's like, "Molly?" It's like, "Yes, and." It's like, BSM? He's like, "Yes, and BSM's not even a job. That's a shitty radio station in Bedford," but he was down for it. So he definitely took yes and by heart. So no, but it was great working with you, Steve. It was a pleasure knowing you. I'm glad we got to roast you. This has been an honor. It's been fun watching you. You have a really, really big heart and even bigger ego. So, give it up for Tegan Flanders. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, James. We appreciate you. When I met the next roaster, we had communication issues. I had to learn to speak his language. I've been practicing it all week just so I could introduce him appropriately. Let's see if I can introduce him in his native tongue. 1000110101000. Steve, did I get that right?
I think so.
Yeah, excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Norton.
Look at this Dais, guys. Look at us. A bunch of talentless, overweight white guys in Rhodes. Rhodes is probably the only one here with any actual talent. There hasn't been this many lazy, talentless white men riding on the back of a black man since Jackie Robinson.
Holy
fuck. Okay, I'll start things off tonight with Ben Milot, or Milot, Milot, whatever he's saying these days. Since he's the youngest and least accomplished of all of us, not that that's saying much. What is there to say about Ben Milot? I really didn't know what to write. When I first found out that Ben was going to be joining us tonight, I assumed it would be more of a behind-the-scenes capacity. Not because he's lacking any discernible talent, I just wasn't sure how we would fit him on screen.
Jesus fuck.
That reminds me. The other night we were all talking about gaining weight during the quarantine, and Ben said, "That's okay, I'm on Weight Watchers." To which I promptly replied, "Yes, he looks into the mirror at least once a day."
Jesus.
In preparation for this evening, we all met together to tell each other a little bit about ourselves, and Ben revealed to everyone that he had once had Bell's palsy. You see, Bell's palsy is a temporary medical condition where half of your face droops due to muscle weakness. Wow, Ben, you're so big of a pussy that you didn't even have the decency to get a stroke like a real man. Shame.
Damn it.
Former Senator Al Franken is with us tonight. Richie Oliver.
You.
Richie is the creator and star of a sketch series called Young Christ. I recommend everyone watch it. And just in case you needed another example of a whitewash adaptation of a popular fictional story. And once you're done watching it, the crucifixion doesn't seem all that bad. In fact, Mel Gibson would be proud. Richie. Richie's a deadhead. He hasn't actually heard of the Grateful Dead. He just has a barely functioning frontal cortex.
Oh my God.
Some of you might not be aware, but Richie is actually a brown belt in Taekwondo. But from the looks of it, I would have guessed Taekwondo. Richie is a big Sanders supporter. He supported him in 2016, 2020, and will likely continue to support him the rest of his life. One day, he might reach out and grab his dream of finally learning those secret 11 herbs and spices. And now, if you will humor me for a moment, I have something I'd like to share with you guys. I was browsing through Facebook earlier, and I came across this photo of Richie.
Richie!
Yeah.
What about it? It's a good fucking picture. What am I gonna say?
I took the liberty of performing some free Photoshop touch-ups for you because I really like this photo. So may I present to you? Oh wait, I'm sorry. There we go.
Oh, fuck you! God damn it! Oh my god!
Grimace is starting a rock band.
This is the roast of Tegan Flanders. I feel like I'm just getting shat on.
Rhodes Pierre. My next target. In case any of you didn't know, Rhodes sells life insurance and he's of Haitian descent. What does seem a little strange to me is that he started selling policies only a few months prior to the 2010 earthquake. Someone might want to look into that. But Rhodes is more than just an insurance salesman. He's an activist, a comedian, an ordained minister, a political conspiracy theorist, and an avid supporter of the Green Party. He's long been active in the push for legalization of marijuana, which makes sense. To be like Rhodes, you'd have to be smoking a whole lot of something. Rhodes can smoke you up, get you married, and then sell you a policy. He believes in covering everyone because, after all lives matter, right, Rhodes?
Jesus Christ.
Insure all those lives.
Special thank you tonight to Nicholas Anderson for putting the show together with me, even though we all know I'm the hardworking, talented, attractive, and capable one. Nick once told me about how he has Asperger's, but I really didn't pay too much attention because I don't like the way it makes my urine smell.
Jesus Christ.
But I love Nick. He looks like a male Susan Boyle. And it's equally shocking when he opens his mouth.
Jesus Christ.
The harsh words that leave this man's mouth are only second to the unbearable odor. It's especially fun to take him trick-or-treating come October. He warms the hearts of children with his jack-o'-lantern-like smile, only to lure them into the back of his Nissan that promises of visiting his play place with the giant ball pit. I can still see the smiles on their faces. Not in my mind, of course, but on 60 Minutes in the back of milk cartons. And now it's time for Tegan Flanders. The big enchilada, the big cheese, the big kahuna, the head honcho, numero uno, the top dog, the ace, the star, the king, the big wampum. You know, one of my favorite qualities about Tegan is probably his humility. Tegan is more full of himself than a man performing autofellatio. Tegan's bank account is kind of low these days because even he stopped buying his own bullshit. Tegan must disappoint a lot of women. I mean, he's the most Jewish-looking non-Jew I've ever met. And they might mistake him for thinking he might actually be funny or be good with money.
Oh, it moves up.
Tegan is related to the great Gaspar family of Gaspar Foods. And while he hasn't got any of that sweet, sweet chorizo money, he has done his part over the years by spreading the family sausage. There isn't a woman in New Bedford who doesn't know the smoky taste of a Gaspar's. Although Tegan's recipe comes with a hangover, a headache, and Plan B.
God.
Tegan used to live in New York City. He performed stand-up and sold stocks on the stock exchange, and now he's here in New Bedford. From Wolf of Wall Street to the nippy terrier of Rockdale Ave.
AJ
does remind me a lot of Jordan Belfort, and by that I mean cocaine hookers and exploiting people much more talented than himself.
Let it play.
Oh, and Tegan,
but you're gonna have it here to play with it anytime.
while you were investing money in the stock market, you should have invested in medical research because, bro, 10 years is the longest case of writer's block I've ever heard of.
Jesus.
Tegan is a stand-up comedian. As his Twitter bio clearly points out, he was ranked 887 of the top 1,000 comedians of 2019. Wow, Tegan. You're almost as much comedian as Liz Warren is Native American. A lot of you might not know this, but Tegan grew up in the spotlight. He actually started when he was very young. When Tegan was a wee boy, his father took him and his family to a talent agency. His father walked up to the talent agent and said, "Hey, Mr. Agent, have I got an act for you?"
Oh, God.
The agent looked back at little Tegan and his family and said, "Okay, show me what you got." Tegan's father undid his belt and started taking his pants off, while little Tegan and the rest of the family started doing the same. The whole family got undressed and started fucking each other, except for the father, who grabbed his now free belt and began whipping the rest of the family as hard as he could with their bare asses while they all humped each other. The welts from the belt started bleeding, creating a natural lubricant for all of the vaginal and anal penetration. The father decided to join in at this point, and all of the family stopped for a moment to bend over and defecate on the floor in front of the agent. At this point, there was a huge pile of shit on the floor. Little Tegan jumped into the pile of shit and started making shit angels. He stood up and started singing ABC by the Jackson 5, while Tegan's sister was getting bang-banged by his father, mother, and brother. The sister reached around and ripped a hemorrhoid off of Tegan's father's asshole. The father screamed in pain. Little Tegan is singing and slipping all over the shit on the floor. The father starts pissing everywhere from the pain of his bleeding asshole. The sister starts laughing so hard that she vomits all over her brother. The father gets pissed and starts punching everyone in the face as hard as he can. Tegan falls onto the gangbang and a penis accidentally slides in his asshole. There are fists flying, piss, shit, semen, blood. During all of this, Tegan's brother notices that his cock is uncut and in the heat of the moment decides to get down and perform an oral circumcision with his teeth. His mouth fills with blood as he spits the newly detached foreskin toward the talent agent, landing on the square of his glasses. Tegan's mother shoves one fist up the father's asshole and the other up the brother's asshole. What ensues is a 5-minute fest of bloody semen-coated hands. Halfway through, his brother's body goes limp. The sister hops in front of him to simultaneously stimulate his penis while holding his limp body in place. At this point, I'm pretty sure Tegan's brother's dead. Yes. In fact, he probably was dead. They form a Radio City Rocket line holding up his dead body like Weekend at Bernie's and start kicking each other in the crotch. Tegan hops into his father's shoulders and starts singing Wind Beneath My Wings by Bette Midler. There is nothing left of each penis or vagina at this point. They've been pulverized from continuous crotch smashing. As the blood pools around their feet, they all start falling down. The brother's limp body falls and his head cracks open on stage. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings. They stop and stare. Everyone except Tegan's brother, whose head is leaking all over the backstage. Ta-da! The father says. The agent says, "Is that it?" The father says, "Yes, I think that's about it." The agent says, "That's an interesting act. What do you call yourselves?" The brother, who was presumed dead on the floor, gurgles out of his mouth, "The aristocrat."
God damn it.
I'll leave you with this. How is Tegan Flanders' career like blackjack?
How?
Once he hit 22, it was bust. On a serious note, I love Tegan. Despite being so far below him, I kindly look up to his pedestal. It was Tegan Flanders who gave me a platform and encouraged me to run wild and write prompts and graphics and sketches and do everything else that I do today. And so he could take 100% credit for them. But Tegan, you've been and you continue to be a great inspiration for me and a testament to what I could be if I just love myself a little bit more. I love you.
All right. Thank you very much, Steve, for giving us a small glimpse into the reason why none of the other robots would play with you. So now it's time for an egomaniac. Over the years, Tegan has said he wanted to be intellectually and creatively challenged by the people he surrounded himself with. So I brought him to a local elementary school, and he hasn't been happier since.
Wow. Well, I'd like to say that I'm so glad to be part of this roast. I'm so happy that this is a roast. because the last time that my actions brought so many people together, it was an intervention. So this has been much, much, marginally less awkward. At least this time there was less crying. Although last time there were baked goods, so you guys got to step up your craft services. I'm just saying. It's a heck of a feeling. It feels like a lot of people knew that this was a long time coming, almost as if it was inevitable that I would be roasted. I'm just too big a target. And yet somehow these guys still missed the mark. To be roasted is an incredible honor. To have one's peers take time to come together and celebrate your career, longevity, and influence upon their successes is truly an honor. If only any of mine were here tonight. Hey, I mean, I've done cocaine with Dane fucking Cook. I've opened for Jim Brewer. And I get this. Nick, so nice of you to join us from the locker room of a truck stop off 195. Nick, you look like the guy that sprays the shoes behind the counter at the bowling alley. Ben Milot. Ben, your Q rating is so low they didn't even get your name right on this roast. How do you say it? How do you say it?
It's Milot. I expect after a year.
Yeah, no, really, nobody. What?
Huh?
Ben, by the way, that smell that you had mentioned of all of you guys together, that's desperation.
Jesus.
I have a message here. I'm here to serve you, actually, Ben. I'm on behalf of the bankruptcy court for the state of Hawaii. They're now insolvent after making that shirt for you.
God damn.
I'm pretty sure that you need a ukulele and to start singing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" to end the show. Nick and Steve, I know you guys think that you left for greener pastures, and Richie, I know I've always told you that you're extremely talented and valuable. That's because in this modern economy, I was forced to streamline. Richie, you offer the soft, portly body of Nick and the slight autism of Steve, all in one.
God damn it.
When I first saw you out here, Richie, I was excited because at first I thought you were Herb Lorraine, and he's cool as fuck. But no, it's just you. I would like to say thank you all so much. It is the attempts at humor by people like you that keep moderately talented people like me working. I have now managed to span from 1999 to 2020. I am eager and excited to continue to work with everyone I see in front of me upon the Dais. My career would not be possible without you guys and countless others that have put the time, effort, and energy into trying to understand my style of comedy. I get asked often, well, Tegan, what's the point of your comedy? I've put a lot of time, thought, and effort into it, and I believe that I've long been an advocate of the use of psychedelics to expand the human consciousness. And I have attempted to use comedy to describe trips that I would go on that would make Hunter S. Thompson blush, and then come back with some kind of witty anecdote that completely sober people who maybe have never even experienced this in their lives will be able to relate to humorously and draw back some sort of meta experience. As a giant thank you from the greater community for my efforts, I'd like to read you an excerpt from Urban Dictionary of Tegan Flanders. The world's worst comic, like really bad. He has a terrible delivery. It must be all the drugs. So I'm glad that my efforts have been appreciated by the greater good. I really hope that I can continue to make you guys laugh. I want you to know how much I appreciate and love all of you who have come up over here. And hey, Rhodes, did anybody wake Rhodes? Rhodes. True story. I was doing a show with Rhodes in, I think it was Fairhaven, and he fell asleep on stage during his show. Fucking legendary. So guys, I want to let you know how much I appreciate it. A big thank you to Not Safe for Earth. This has been a great collaboration. I'd like to thank guys from Funny Feet for coming up here and having some fun, mostly at my expense, but it's been a blast. Guys, thank you so much. Let's continue to keep people laughing. Thank you and good night. Mwah!
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much to our Dais, Richie, Ben, Rhodes, Steve, and thank you very much, Tegan, for allowing us to roast you tonight. Keep watching our Facebook page. We've got another event coming up next month.
Thank you, guys.
Happy birthday, AJ!
Happy